Okay, Toda.
Okay. Abba, Most High, the creator of heaven and earth, as we come before you as your chosen people, as another set apart day that you have given us, we give thanks and to you and you only for allowing us to present ourselves before you as a living sacrifice that will be acceptable unto you. You have chosen us before the foundation of the earth to bring forth your praise. And we thank you for forgiving us of all our sins, including our thoughts, words, or deeds. And if we have offended a brother or sister, may we go quickly and make peace with them. And what we may hear today, let it take root conscience in our mind to learn to do, because divided we fall, together we stand. Abba, your will is our will as we continue to learn to keep your commandments, and our steps are being ordered by you. As we see your shadow, you are our strength, and a buckler unto us that trust in you. This is my prayer today in your set apart name. So be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And Most High be praised.
High be praised.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sis, for that wonderful prayer.
Thank you, so Toda, you welcome. Mhm.
Yeah, you got a little energy, what you got, a little energy.
Hey, it comes from the Most High. It comes from the Most High. Every day is a blessed day to me, and great things are coming our way.
Right. Have you all shared the notifications that we're having class today? We got 5 people in the room, and it's 11:05. Not that I have a problem with that. I ain't got no problem with that. We can get busy. You know, I don't hang around and wait for nothing. We get busy. We work with what we.
Yeah, let me remind some of my other sisters, because I always send out the text to them. So let me just kind of remind them again.
Well, we gonna get started because we ain't waiting for nobody. They don't show up. They don't show up. That's on them. They don't want to be here. They don't want to be here. That's on them. We gonna keep flowing. Now, normally dealing with our people, man, our people are always slow. We just, I don't know why, but creative willing, we'll get better at it. We'll get better at it. Start being more on time. All right. So, how did you guys enjoy last week's class?
Yes.
Pretty informative?
Yes, definitely informative.
All right. Do you remember any main topics or subjects or teachings that you received last week that helped you throughout your week this week?
The one I remembered was about taking something from someone and how the spirit can transfer. So you always give them something back, which was very informative.
Explain that in details, because a lot of people may not have heard last week's class that's going to hear this recording. So explain to them in details what you're talking about. That's a very powerful thing.
When somebody is giving you something, a spirit can be transferred from that object onto you because they're giving it to you, but you're not giving them anything back. So it's a good practice to give them something back, like because then you purchased it and it wasn't them giving it to you, you actually bought it. So then that spirit can't be transferred back to you, onto you.
Very, very good. Also, it shows an act of honor within you, because somebody's doing something for you, you want to do something for them as well. You know what I mean? So it shows that you have an honorable spirit as well. You know, in these Americas, they have taught us to just receive and not give. Right. We rarely ever do you see anyone just giving just for the sake of giving. Everybody gives with a hidden agenda, with a secret motive for some reason, because they're trying to get something for themselves. But how many actually give just to give? To see somebody else increase, to see somebody else receive something that will help them in their lives to better their lives with no strings attached. Not often. So anyone else? That was a good one, sis. Thank you. Anyone else want to speak anything about how last week's class impacted their lives? What it might have done for them throughout the week, and how they meditate on certain things? Anyone else?
Yeah, I would like to say, along with my sister there, because when we give, we want to give with a clean motive, and we want to give out of the heart, not and looking for a return for something else and say, oh, well, I did this for someone and I'm expecting something back. The thing is, this is about you giving unto them, because you have no control over what in their minds thing. You giving from the heart, just like the Father has given to us. So therefore, we within us, we're part of Him. Therefore, we got to give back to others without any thinking that, but what I should receive this or should receive that, because the Father is of love, and we come from Him, and we
Your signal is breaking up. I heard because the Father is love, and we come from Him.
I'm breaking up. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I heard you 90% of the way, and then you said the Father comes from love, and we come from the Father, and we should give like He does to us, I guess, was what you were saying.
Let me try to say that again. Yeah, I was saying that since we come from the Father, the chosen ones, the love is within us to give to others. So we're not expecting what a person to give back, because he gave to us. So therefore, naturally, a person will give. So therefore, within us, we're not in the motive, I give you, and I'm expecting for somebody to give back unto me, because that's not what He put in us, because we are love. We just give because we give. Yeah.
Right. That's how we're supposed to be.
Right. Right.
But the colonizers,
Yeah.
in so many ways that right now we give selfishly.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't give selflessly, we give selfishly. We want something to get out of what we do.
Right.
Therefore, everything we do, we look in return, which is not, it's not the ways of pureness. It's not wholesomeness, honest. Sister Levesque, something you want to say, sis? Shabbat shalom, Lak.
Shabbat shalom, huh?
Shalom, sis.
What we're discussing.
No, I just came in. I'm sorry.
Oh, we know you just came in. We're aware that you just came in. What we're discussing, you and your sister Taya just getting in, but it's okay. It's okay. We ain't gonna make it no big thing. What we're discussing right now is how last week's class, or even the weeks before that, how the things of that class may have impacted your life throughout the course of your week. Some of the things that you may have learned in class that you applied to your life, or you just meditated on. Is there anything that you might can mention?
Oh boy. Can I come back on that?
No problem.
Well, I could just say everything, basically, because it's been a learning experience, even though I'm a couple of years into the walk, but it's like I'm still learning all over again, because I still have the Christianity, and then I'm learning that, that I have that there still, and to remove it out of the way, and ways of removing it out.
Do you know how much I appreciate that statement? So people, if you're not speaking, can you mute your mic, please?
Sure.
But so many people try to pretend as if the teachings of Christianity, the doctrines of Christianity is not in their mind anymore. And that's not true. I've been in this way of life for, oh man, almost 30 years now, almost. And I still got a battle with some of the thoughts, the ideals, the creativity that I bring. I still got a battle with some of those things because they came from the slave masters. They came from Christianity. A lot of those things. A lot of people don't want to admit it because they're anti-New Testament, but yet that New Testament it was beaten in us for generations. It's not going to be that easy to get it out. That's why I have no problem with my brothers who still are in the New Testament. I have no problem with that because I understand. It's you ain't going to just flip and flop and bang, tomorrow you're different. There have been brothers that I know, that I walk with, soldiered with, that was devout Hebrew Torah-centered Israelites that's into the New Testament now. One of them is even a Christian, completely left the Hebrew way, complete Christian. One of them is a Muslim now. Two of them are Muslims now. So why I'm saying this, because you never know where you're going to be today or tomorrow. The best thing you can do is safeguard your spirit so that you never walk away from the Almighty and never walk away from his truth. That's why you should never pledge your allegiance to any power other than the Creator. No one other than the Most High. You follow me? That way you'll never go wrong. And if he leads you down a path, that path is led, don't let it be your own imagination that takes you. Let the Most High truly take you where you need to go. He will never lead you wrong. Okay? But everybody that say Israel ain't Israel. So a lot of people end up where they're supposed to be. So don't even let that affect you. Brothers that you walking with, you holding hands with, sisters that you holding hands with today, and they swear by the name of the Most High that they ain't gonna never do nothing other than worship the King. And then time is the true teller of all things. I always say that. Time is the true teller of all things. And then 2-3 years later, where they at? You know how it happens? It happens real slow. Sin creeps in and you start giving into that sin. And eventually you start living that sin full time. And you start becoming something else. And then the ways of righteousness is more foreign to you than you living and practicing idolatry. You become more comfortable in that world because you have allowed your spirit to become something other than what it was. So, but it happens to a lot of people, you know, it happens. Don't be surprised. A lot of people that's standing here with us today, that's sitting there and be talking that you know today, that claims to be servants of the Most High. You'll see, give them 5-10 years. Watch where they at. They'll be somewhere else, totally different, doing something totally different than what they used to do when they claimed to be servants of the Almighty. They call that change. They call that time and change and circumstance and happenstance. And they have a lot of excuses for it, but it is what it is. Let's just be patient. Let's worship the Most High to the best of our ability and never give up on this King, ever. All right, so here we are. We at that time of our class today. And I want to say this to y'all. I have to confess this because I need y'all to know what happened today. I went from one home to another home. Last night, I slept in a different home. And when I got up, I printed out my lesson for the day, packed my bags, brought all my stuff, and left my lesson home. And at this house, I don't have a computer. I left all my stuff at home. But what I did do is I pulled up another lesson on my phone because I got one of those great Apple phones where you put something on one device and it's transferred to another device. I don't have the particular lesson that I wanted to have today, but I want to go from memory some of the things that I remember from the lesson, and then I want to touch on a little bit about it in this lesson to bring about a fullness of our class today. But as you all know, the most important thing or individuals are you. So may the Most High guide my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, speech as I approach unto you, his people. May the Most High be praised from everlasting till everlasting. Toda Rabah. So we're going to start our class today by asking the family to present the questions. If anyone have any questions, now will be the time to do so. If there are any questions, you got the floor, sis. Just again.
I wanted you to clarify something. I believe you spoke about it last lesson when you were talking about a man going into a woman, that's his wife. So my clarification question is, if a man and a woman are courting and he goes into her, but then he decides, well, this isn't what I want, does he owe her a bill of divorce? Or does he just walk away?
Was she a virgin?
No.
Okay. All right. To correctly state what needed to be said is that a man should not be going into a woman unless she's his wife.
Okay.
That sometimes it can be taken different ways, but that's what I firmly understand and accept and teach. That a man should not be having intercourse with a woman unless she's his wife. That means you shouldn't be prostitution. You shouldn't condone prostitution. You shouldn't be doing rape. You shouldn't be doing child molestation. You see, that covers a whole spectrum of things.
Mm-hmm.
If she's your wife, then you can have your way with her because she's your property. She belongs to you. And if she's not your wife, then you cannot have your way with her. She's not your property. She doesn't belong to you, even if you're courting her. So during the courting process, if you lay down with her, you disannul the courting process and you have now taken yourself a wife. You have now taken yourself a wife. And if you decide to divorce her or you don't want her anymore, you have now become an evil man because you took the jewels, but now you don't earn up to the right of the responsibility of taking care of her. You are a wicked man, and you should go to the Most High and repent first. Ask him for the forgiveness, and go to that sister and ask her for forgiveness. But yes, you will be required to give her a bill.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No man should ever violate a woman on that level and then don't continue on and give her a fair opportunity to be your wife. In my own life, I had a situation similar to that. And the woman, because she didn't want it to be known that she was my wife, she asked me for a bill because she wasn't ready to be my wife. Now, how could you go through all this and now you're not ready? So she got a bill. And to the day, she's angry with me because I gave it to her. You asked for it. She became angry with me, enraged. You don't ask me for a bill because you're going to get it. I'm not holding on to nothing that don't want to be held on to because you can't properly serve me. I can't properly serve you. You ask me for a bill, you going to get it. Oh, if I'm not on my job as a husband, then you deserve that. But if I'm doing my job, why would you ask me for it? It's because she didn't want people to know. Life is tricky. But situation was that we have been courting for a period of time. The court period was cool. That we had no issue with that. And we came together. And I'm telling y'all my business because it's my own personal life, but there's nothing personal about your spiritual leader, your servant, the people who teach you about the Most High, who stands in a position of leadership. There's no secrets in their lives. If there is, get away from that person. Run. So anyway, let me bore you with the subject. So we did what we did, and we consummated that marriage. But she didn't want certain people to know that I had taken her, and that even that we were courting and doing what we were doing. She didn't want nobody to know. She wasn't ready for it to be exposed to the world. But me, I'm like, yo, you my wife. That's not a secret. It has to be known. So she asked me for a bill. That night, she asked me for a bill and I gave it to her. And we grew apart. After that, we grew apart. She went on with her life. I went on with my life. I got a phone call one day. She needed some help. I helped her. And she hated me ever since. And I think she hated me, just my thoughts, my imagination. I think she hated me because she made a decision, but then later realized it wasn't a good choice. You can't come back after that. It's over, it's done. And then when people, we do this often through life, we do things that we think at the time is the best thing to do, later on to regret the thing that we did, then think that we can go back and undo it. But the Creator's law is, and I need everybody to hear this carefully, because so many people ignore this. If a man marries a woman and then divorces her, and she go and be another man's wife, she can never come back to that first man ever again. So many of us grow up through our childhood having intercourse with people, not understanding the duties and responsibilities of intercourse. We'll leave from that individual years later and end back up with that same individual several years later and saying, hey, we're going to do this again. This time it's going to be better. No, you're in violation. It shouldn't be. And I mean, this is a sad reality. There's a lot of us who are guilty of this because a European man has taken our minds and put them somewhere where they're not supposed to be, and they're not on righteousness. A woman that I used to be involved with years ago sexually on that level, I can never have her again, not as a wife. You could never have her again as a wife. She can never be a wife to you ever again. She's not supposed to be. That's the law. And you know how a lot of people get around that? They say things like, yeah, but we wasn't married. We were just having sex. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend. There is no such thing as boyfriend and girlfriend in Israel. And the part that people forget or overlook is that I think I explained this to you all a couple weeks ago in class. The word for wife in Hebrew means woman. She's my woman. It's only in English that you have a different word for woman and wife. You know what I mean? So we take the English terminology and say, well, we wasn't wedded. She didn't become my wife. She was only my girl and we only had sex. No, in Hebrew, when the woman is brought to you, when she's your property, she belongs to you, she is your wife. So when you're having a relationship, that relationship, was it exclusive? Was it just supposed to be, was he expecting you to be loyal to him and you expected him to be loyal to you? Was that the case? Yes, then that was your husband and you was his wife. So many people don't understand that. In reality, that's what it is. Isha, Ishti, Ishti. She is my wife. She belongs to me. There is no English translation of that that would be compatible with what that means in Hebrew, except she's my woman. And that's what it means. It doesn't say in Hebrew, she's my wife. There is no word for wife in Hebrew. The white man might have made up something. I don't know what they got going on. But there is no word for wife in Hebrew. It means my woman. So if you ever had in your life a woman that you called my woman, in reality, you can never have her again if another man has lying with her after the two of you separated. Well, Prince, I didn't give her a bill, then she committed adultery then. You've caused her to commit adultery. That's the reality of it. But so many Hebrew Israelites don't want to accept that. So many of our people don't want to accept it. And sometimes that second time around actually be a better situation than the first time, usually because you're more mature and you know what you want. First time, it was you just hot in the pants and just moving in the wrong direction, half-heartedly, and a lot of times you be into the world. A lot of times that be prior to you coming into this way of life, into this truth. Can I say emphatically that the Most High won't forgive you? No, I can't say that. But what I will say is if you do it intentionally, there's probably a large possibility that he will not forgive you. But if you didn't realize it, and this is your first time hearing it through a lesson like this, and you saying, you know what, dang, preach, you are absent. That's us. That's okay, because you didn't know. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's cool. All I'm saying is that when you get off that phone tonight, you should get on your knees and go to the Creator and ask the Creator for forgiveness, because you're also violating his law. Well, Prince, I had sex with her, but she wasn't my wife. Was she your woman? Were you in relations? Also, you should not be having sex with anybody that's not your woman. That's how disease gets started. That's how single parent homes get started. Nothing positive is going to come from that. Nothing positive. So why put the energy into it? Hope I didn't ruffle too many feathers. But I hope I shook them up where they needed to be shook up, because it's so sexual promiscuity, promiscuity that's running rampant in the Israelite kingdom today from so-called righteous individuals. So many people are living trite lives, foul lives, and a lot of it is based upon their own sexual desires, their sexual demons that they refuse to bring under subjection. That's the reality. A lot of men right now sit in a position of leadership. Now, this wasn't what today's class was supposed to be about, but it is, because that's what the Father had bring forward. A lot of people sit in positions of leadership, and all they're there for is to sex the women. And they'll sex the women, keep it under wraps. Oh, you don't tell, I don't tell. Nobody don't need to know. You ain't my wife. I ain't your husband. It's okay. Go ahead and do your thing. She go get a husband in the community, and she done been with the leader. It's ridiculous, because he's wicked. He's wicked. A lot of men use this position just to get women. And when they get the woman, they get her Jews, they put her to the side. Similar to what you were saying, sis. They put her to the side, and it's a wrap. He has no responsibility, no duties, nothing to her ever again. And it's sad. And we call ourselves a righteous people, a holy people. We are fool. We are joke. We are laughing stock. We need to get it right. And if we lived in our integrity, we would be a much better people than what we are today. All right. Well, Ishi, I see you had your hand up earlier. Is there something you would like to, a question that you had?
Yes. Okay. So, two things. Based upon what you said, right? Like the sex and everything. Would it be fair to say, my first thing is, would it be fair to say then that sex is like the consecration of marriage? Because people go around saying sex is marriage, right? So it's like, can you just like clarify? I think we all know about the courting process, right? Like we know that, but like, could you just clarify for everybody, like, okay, sex is definitely supposed to come after you or consecrate the marriage, I guess. Is that okay.
In my opinion, and I have to clarify, this is my opinion because it's not spelled out specifically in the law.
And I do have a second thing, so I'll just.
Okay. Sex should only happen between married people. That's it. That's a benefit of being married. If you're not married, you shouldn't be having sex with anyone. And does sex constitute marriage? I think that sex is one of the prerequisites of marriage. It's one of the constituents of marriage, one of the benefits of marriage. It should not be taking place except you know that you belong to me and I know that you belong to me, and that's it. Other than that, a man and a woman shouldn't be having sex. I pray that answers your question.
I get that. I think it's just plain and simple. Don't have sex unless y'all are married. Makes sense.
You know, a lot of people believe that sex is marriage. I think that marriage is a whole lot more than just sex. But yet, if you have sex, that's your wife. That's my opinion. Okay? And
Yes.
that's where situation. No man nor woman should be having sexual intercourse with another that they do not acknowledge as their property, their woman, their husband.
So my second thing is, so going off of that then, okay, could you dive deeper into Isaiah 4:1, and then that day 7 women will cleave to one man? And what does that actually like, what does that mean for Israel? Like, what does that mean?
You and I had a discussion earlier in the week about Isaiah 4:1.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna bring it up in this manner because when we had this discussion, it was about a woman seeing her husband as the creator, or not the creator, but as a God.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So what does
And I use that scripture to reference how a woman is supposed to view her husband. And what I said specifically was that the woman's doorway to the creator is through her husband. A lot of people today, we don't even realize that. We don't even understand that. Our mother Sarah called her husband Abraham, my Lord, my Adonai, my God, my Elohim. That's what she called her husband. The scripture that referenced Isaiah, the 4th chapter, I believe it's the first verse, Isaiah 4:1. It says something like, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying that we will buy our own apparel. Just let me be called by your name. So how does that all tie together? To take away our reproach is what she asks. To take away our reproach, let us be called by your name. Well, being called by a man's name is becoming the property of that man. You now belong to him. You become his property. What does that mean? Sister Abigail spoke, I believe it was Sister Abigail spoke on this earlier today when she spoke about receiving things from people. That person's spirit is on anything that they own. When a man takes possession of a woman, his spirit covers her. If he's an unrighteous man, she has an unrighteous covering. He's wicked. If he's a righteous man, she has a righteous covering, and all of her reproaches, all of her sin, all of her evil is now covered. The word kippur means covering. Kippurim means covering. Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, is really a day of covering. What is being covered? Your sins are being covered. When that woman becomes a man's property, his spirit is covering her sins, her evils, all of her negativity. It is a man's job and responsibility to raise her up. Women who don't have a husband are living in sin. Women who don't have a male covering are living in sin. They could be the best of the best of the best, but every Hebrew woman should have a covering. If it's not your husband, it's your father, it's your uncle, it's your brother, but it has to be some male figure who helps you in your life spiritually to obtain the blessings of the Most High King. What do I mean? The Father says in the law that when a woman has a husband and he dies, she's supposed to go back to her father's house. Why? So that there will always be a male head over her. Women wasn't just like they are today, running rampant, free, searching for a covering, searching for a husband. If you don't have a husband, you need a covering. And because you have a covering doesn't mean that he gets the opportunity to just lie with you and have intercourse with you and doesn't claim you as a wife or a concubine or something of that nature. A man's responsibility is to be the head, to dominate, to control. What does that mean? It means when a woman is living a life It is her responsibility to find a man to be her covering because he is the head, the dominant one, the one in control, not the woman. Anything that a woman does on her own, it never will come out to be anything holy and righteous unless she has a righteous covering above her in some order, shape, or fashion or form. She can put forth her best effort and she can do a great job with a whole lot of wonderful things. But in the proper order of things, she needs a covering. Now, these women that we're speaking about in Isaiah 4 is speaking about women having no man, no husband, no covering, but they have a lot of reproach. It didn't say that they were evil women. It didn't say that they were harlots, but they recognized that they needed a man to make them whole, to make them perfect. And it doesn't necessarily mean that this man has to become your husband. It does mean that this man has to become a covering for you. It could be your uncle, it could be your brother, it could be your husband, it could be your father. But every woman must have a male covering to receive the full benefits of what the Most High has in store for you. You can be a virtuous woman, living a perfect life without those things, but your life will never be spiritually perfect until you perfect it with a covering. And I pray that you all understand that. So therefore, those women of ancient times, they knew that. See, the wonderful thing about that chapter in 4:1 is that chapter comes right after the 3rd chapter of Isaiah, where the Most High cut down the women about their atrocities, their evils, their harlotries, how they walk around haughty, acting like they all that. Right after that chapter, the Most High says, in those days, when women are acting like that, in those days, 7 women is going to come to one man and say, listen, I make enough money to take care of myself. I don't need you for your money. I need you for something that money cannot buy. And that's your spiritual protection, your spiritual covering. So just let me be called by your name to take away my reproach. A lot of people get angry with this, and I don't understand why, but your husband is like a god to you. A lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand what that means. That means that between you and your creator should be your husband. Let me give you a better example, or at least another closer example. If you don't have a husband, find a covering, because that covering will substitute in the service of a husband for you. He has to. Here's a better example. Numbers, the 30th chapter, I believe it's Numbers, the 30th chapter. It speaks about a woman making a vow in her father's house. If a woman makes a vow to the creator, now she make a private conversation between her and the creator in her father's house, and her father one day hears this vow. Her father, upon hearing it, can now say, that vow ain't gonna stop. How in the world can an individual, a separate person from you, disannul a vow that you made to the supreme power? How is that physically possible? It's not physically possible. It's spiritually possible. And the spirit world overpowers the physical world by 1,000%. The creator has made provisions for that father in that house as the head of the house. You know that ox head? He's the head of the bait, the ox head, strength, strong. And then the bait, which is the house, the head of the house, Abba, the head of the house. He has dominance over everything that his spirit covers. That's why it says she's in his house. His spirit covers everything that belongs to him. His children, his nashim, everything. So when his spirit covers her, him, them, it gives him dominance over her. That's why when she becomes divorced, she has to come back to his house. It doesn't necessarily mean she lives under the same roof as him. It means she comes under his authority. That's his house. Okay? Now, that same woman, she's married now. Maybe you can understand what I mean by when the Father hears it, he can disannul that vow between her and the Creator. But that same woman, she gets married. And she make a vow to the Creator. And when her husband hears it, he has the power and the ability from the Most High to say that vow will not stand. Or he could say, Creator, I like that vow, it shall stand. But he has the power to say to her, I heard what you said out of your mouth, but it's not going to happen. You don't have to do that. I don't want you doing that. He has that type of authority over her. She doesn't have that authority over him. Oh, this is equal. How come it's that way with him, but it ain't that way with her? The Creator don't deal with that type of stuff. The Most High set up his order. And we, as the servants of the Most High, just have to obey his order. The things that the Father do, we might not like, but we have to do them. If we don't, we're unrighteous. And that means we're bringing upon the wrath of the Most High on our lives. The woman does not have the authority to disannul the husband's vow, but the husband has the authority to disannul the wife's vow. Just like when the man takes the wife, he has the authority, the blessings to overshadow her iniquity. Now, if she keeps living in iniquity, that sin falls on that husband because he got a wicked wife. The Most High says, if you find some uncleanness in her, release her from you. Give her a bill. That's a contract. That bill is a contract releasing her, your spirit from her. And she can go and be another man's wife. But as long as you don't give her a bill, if she out doing whatever she want to do, her sin falls on you. And your sin fall on her. Sisters, that's why you got to be real careful about the man you marry. So you bring it back home to the original subject. The original subject was your husband is a God to you. He has the power over you to make decisions in your life. He stands like as a mediator between you and the Almighty in those instances. Never pray to your husband because he's not worthy of prayer. Don't pray to him, pray for him. Do not pray to your father, your husband. Do not honor your husband as you honor the Creator. Always keep the Creator on a different level in everything that you do, because your husband is not the Creator, but he is the word God, the bastard word God, which means Elohim or a power. He is a power to you. I use the word God because that's something that a lot of people can relate to. And God has nothing to do with the Most High. But they teach us that, so that's all we think. But I'm telling you, it doesn't. So when I say your husband is a God to you, he is someone worthy of reverence to you. He is a power and authority to you in your life, over your life. And so many marriages today don't work because women are looking for equality. They have lost the true nature of a Hebrew woman. We've lost that. We understood our nature as a Hebrew man, and the woman understood that nature as a Hebrew woman. We knew our responsibility as a man. We lost that during slavery and after slavery. We are so far removed from our natural order because of all the different captivities that we've been in, that a man forgot his place. He walking around with a skirt on saying, hey, because he lost his place. He don't know, he's confused. And the woman walking around with her pants talking about, yo, what's up, man? Because she lost her place. We don't know. The roles have been reversed. They've been switched. And if you look at the television shows, I was watching this video the other day about this man asked the women, name me one virtuous woman that you know today that you would want to imitate that you think is feminine. So one of the women in the panel says, Claire Huxtable. When you first think about Claire Huxtable, she's a fictitious character, but when you first think about it, you say, yeah, she was pleasant-minded, spirit, talking. You never seen her raise her voice. She never got out of control or anything. She never did anything that would take her out of her feminine nature. But when you look deeper on the scene, and the brother brought it out, when you look deeper on the scene of Claire Huxtable, she was a feminist. How was she a feminist? You never seen Cliff making any rules for the house. Claire overruled everything that he said. When he said, we're gonna do this, she says, no, that's not right. Do it this way. And they do it that way. That's not a man. That's not a man. A man is the what? What did I say? He was the head of the house. Claire was the head of that house. She did what she wanted to do. He did what she wanted to do. And all the children did what she wanted to do, not him. But they don't let it be known the way that it really is. They camouflage it and make it look good. Claire, I believe Claire was some kind of a psychiatrist or something. She was some kind of professional. What was she? What is she?
A lawyer.
She was a lawyer. She was a lawyer. And Cliff was a what?
A doctor.
Doctor.
OBGYN.
What did he do for a living? He delivered
babies.
He delivered babies. He delivered babies. Come on, man. Woman's job. And the roles was reversed. Claire was the dominant one. She's a lawyer. She's a person. And Cliff delivered babies. He's soft and gentle. I mean, come on, psychologically they do this to us. But that was one of the longest running comedy shows on television that Black people would flock to and say, oh, like my life to be like theirs. So unmute your mic, please. They say, I would like my life to be. Ima, I think it might be you. Thank you. Because they knew what they were doing to us. They had to reverse the roles in us. And it hasn't stopped till today. It hasn't stopped till today. They are still doing what they set out to do. And that's to make the man not be the head and the women not to look up to their man. And now today, women feel like I heard one woman say, I was taught by my father to go get what I needed to get to take care and provide for myself. And they think that that's right. The man was out of order and the woman was out of order. That's not the duty and responsibility of a woman. I think I might be moving too far in this conversation. This is not what they asked for. I think you were asking a question. Yeah, I think I gave a lot of information. It was all accurate. I didn't exaggerate anything. I think we need to go else.
I think Princess has her hand up, and then Danette.
Okay, all right, Princess. Amy, I think that's you, Amy.
Yeah, shalom, as he was asking me something. I had raised my hand when you were talking about the roles of men and women, husband and wife, and how a woman, her husband is like a god to her. Well, I don't really like to use that term, but anyway, I was thinking about like how so many times we as women, will, and I've been guilty of it. I'm not gonna, say I haven't. Well, something to happen, we'd be like, oh, it's not fair because we don't have someone that can tell that man what to do, whatever, right? But I know I can say like in my marriage, whenever I felt an issue, like, and if I really went to the Creator, like I'm supposed to about it, to correct my ish, anytime that I did that, the very next day, like, it'd be like I had actually sat and talked to my ish about it, because he would bring it up and we would resolve the issue. And I noticed that when I went to the Creator first about it, and only him and not anyone else, the resolution came quicker. But when I harbored on it or talked to somebody else about it and my emotions get to the best of me about it, we wouldn't resolve it. It would take longer. And it just taught me that the Most High is who corrects, the man, no matter how fair we think it is. But the Most High said that in the beginning. In Genesis, it said that the man shall rule over you as a woman, and you shall cleave, or your desires, unto your man. So I just wanted to bring that out. Like, a lot of times we might feel that way, And sometimes it could be valid because it's just, we have a right to feel, it's our emotions. But we also have to think, and the reality of it is that the one who checks that man or your husband or even your spiritual leader is the creator. And if you're righteous in what you're bringing to him, the creator will, he'll correct it, and he'll correct it in a way that, both of you can learn from it. That's all I wanted to say.
Very good. Thank
I
you.
love that. I love that.
I have two questions, but the first one, what if the leader, he's in leadership and he really didn't have no intention for that woman, but he quotes to her 1 Corinthians 7:5 by saying that they're in a relationship and they should not deprive themselves from one another. But he really was just using her, and he really didn't have no intentions for her, but he using scriptures to get over on her to get what he wants.
Well, sis, I didn't see where he used the scripture to get over on her. I mean, from what I'm hearing you say, the man wanted to have intercourse with the woman. She didn't want to have intercourse. So he said, by the creator, you got to give me what I'm asking for.
But that's under the constitution of a man and a husband and a wife, or a man and a woman, right? That's what I'm asking you.
Yes.
But he really didn't have.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But he really did not have the intention for her as a wife, but he was just using that scripture to quote to her. That's what I'm saying.
So are you saying that this individual, the man, had no intention of making her a wife? He just wanted to have intercourse. So he used a scripture to have intercourse with her?
To quote that scripture to say that they should not hold one another, sexual pleasure from one another, to make that woman think that she is his woman. No.
Well, then she's a fool. She should know whether she is his woman or not. See, sisters, this is really important. Do not allow your sexual demons to control you, because y'all got them too, just like the men. And what happens is we will overlook what we know is righteous and give in to that demon just for the sake of having pleasure. What I'm saying to you, sisters, is that you have to know that has to be established before anything takes place. You, my husband, I'm your wife. Y'all have to know that. And then once y'all solidify that and y'all do whatever y'all gonna do, that doesn't change. And if he gives you a bill that he's unrighteous and you bring him up to the leadership, you expose him. I'm telling you to expose him.
Right. The next, along that line, before quoting that scripture, they had already had a covenant relationship by knowing that she was his woman and he was her man, but he never fulfilled the obligations of doing anything for her at all, according to what is written, to help take care of her.
So, in other words, they were married before they had intercourse, but he wasn't fulfilling his job as a husband. And then he said, well, hey, listen, I got a verse, and this verse says you can't hold yourself from me. So she gave in to him, but yet he wasn't doing his job as a husband. Is that right?
Yeah, accordingly to yes. Right. That's what I'm trying to, pretty much, yes.
Well, in reality, sis, we would have to really hear the people that's involved in this conversation to see what's going on. But without that information, because that is pertinent information, but without that pertinent information, I would have to draw the conclusion that she wanted it just as bad as he did. Because if he's not doing his job, then what does he earn? How can he have that title of being a husband? And he had, okay, if I say to you, you want to be my wife? You say, yeah. Does that make us married? No. The fulfilling of it is what makes us married.
Right. But he was stringing her, but according to this, he was stringing her along
But
throughout the relationship.
she wanted to be strong. There was no relationship. If this man is not doing his duties as a husband, how are you his wife? In words only? And y'all not even having intercourse. Y'all are doing nothing. He's just taking you off the market in words only. And it's nothing. Y'all have to actually, the work comes through the action of what it is that we're doing. That's what constitutes a marriage.
Okay, next question. This is my question. Who are holding?
Just hold on one second. I gotta let the dog out for a second. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Just give
All
me.
right. Right.
I wanted to say something on what you were saying, Sister Danette, about that previous question.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, I do agree with my husband. Sometimes, a lot of times, we women, we get into a relationship or a situation and we will find ways to blame the other person. But a lot of times we see the signs prior to stepping into that situation. Like we can tell, we can say, I'll just speak on me, myself. I've been in situations or relationships where a man will tell me something, but it'll be something about what he tells me that I can clearly hear or feel within me that's not, something's not right about it. But because I'm infatuated with him or the lust is what's pulling me more, we fall into it. And then when it doesn't work, we find a way to put the blame on the man or the other person. But in truth, a lot of times when we go into these situations, we both wanted it. It just, we wanted a different outcome than what the person than the other person. So then, a lot of times it's really a choice that you made. And not saying that everything that man may have done, some of this, what you're saying, is definitely sounds like he's doing some wicked things, some wicked leadership. But as a woman, though, and as a female or sister, whatever, she has to be able to decide too and decipher between what's good. But if we're not thinking with that part of our mind and we thinking with everything else, we're going to fall right into it. And sometimes, and I'm just speaking real, we play the victim, but truthfully, we're not a victim. We engaged in that willingly.
Right. I truly understand what you're saying, but I know this sister here, and what she was, basically was explaining to me. He had already asked her to be his woman, so they was already in a covenant relationship. But throughout the relationship, because it was a short relationship, she noticed that all the things that he promised her that he was going to do and such, it wasn't fulfilled. But he quoted that scripture to her. And when she questioned him about it, he came up with some other excuse. So it wasn't like, fell into lust or anything, according to this sister. It was already, because they had already been knowing one another. So it was already agreement has made, but the whole time he was stringing her along until she found out that what he was saying wasn't true.
Well, sis, here's the thing. Is it, like I said earlier, is it possible that these two will be willing to have a sit down?
I can maybe I can contact her, and because what it is, she don't want all her business out and everything, so she's just trying to make the right decision to what to do.
If she talked, now I would like to have both parties, but if they talk to me, their business is not out.
Right.
I don't run my mouth like that.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now my next question is, along the line what your Isha was saying, who are holding the brothers that are in leadership accountable for their actions? Who is brother, like I say, iron sharpen iron. So who are holding other brothers and that who are in leadership that are accountable for their action, making sure that they keeping the word and doing according to what the commandments, are saying?
You talking to the wrong one, sis, because see, I'll be the let me tell you something. You know, the sad part is that we live in the days of judges where everybody
Yes.
does right in their own mind. Everybody does what's right in their own mind. I mean, we submit ourselves, some of us submit ourselves to leadership, and then as soon as leadership give a judgment that we don't like, we pack up and go to another place of worship. We'll go somewhere else and continue on in our sin. But I want to say some things that I'm not allowed to say because this thing will be publicly broadcast and put in places where people will hear and be like, hey, but I heard you one day saying, one day it could be used against me, and I don't want that to happen. So what I will say is that it won't always be like that, sis. But a woman can be issued a bill of divorce even if the man doesn't want to give it. If you have counsel, you seek counsel, and that counsel says that this issue is worthy of a bill, and the man says, I don't want to give her a bill, the counsel can write her out a bill and to release her from that husband. She can flee that situation and never have to deal with that foolishness again. So that's lawful. Okay? A lot of people will try to argue that fact, but that's lawful. That's what the law says. But sometimes that's the best thing that you can do because of this captivity that we're in. That's one of the only things that we can do. Because if you take it, the law also says, this certain law that I'm quoting, Leviticus 17th chapter, it also says that if the judges make a ruling and the people don't do what that ruling is, that person that doesn't do it gets to lose their life. But in this captivity, how will we execute that? So that's why I don't say things. That's why I leave things alone, mind my business, and keep it moving. Let it
Right,
go.
because the Most High sits high and he watches and he sees, so it's not from him.
Right. So the best thing to who holds this person accountable, if the people stood up as a righteous people, we would all turn our backs on that individual who was unrighteous. But what happens is there's so many people looking for members that they're willing to accept people in any condition. And hey, you Israelite, all right, come on over here. But that brother just committed adultery with that man's wife. Why are you accepting him in your community? Man, I ain't got but 5 people anyway. Come on, he can come over here. That's not righteous. And that brother should be shunned. He should be dealt with on a physical way, spiritual way, and mental way that we're able to do without putting our own lives in jeopardy. That's how I'll put it. But what happens is because we're looking for numbers in the amount of people, not the quality. We should be looking for quality, but we look at the numbers. So we allow a lot of things to be swept under the rug and keep it moving. But there's an option for that sister. She has an option, but she needs to bring it up so that leadership, proper leadership, can address it. Whether he accepts it or not, it doesn't matter. If he's evil and he's in violation against the Most High's laws, he doesn't deserve a wife. So I pray that answers your question, sis.
Yes, I will address that. Yeah.
But at the same time, I need to put this on. At the same time, that woman must be in proper alignment with the Almighty as well.
Yes.
Because sometimes, women play the victim and they don't be the victim at all. They be
but I know for a fact from what I know, she's doing in line from what I know. Yeah.
Have you spoken to both parties in this matter?
I haven't spoken directly to the husband, but eventually after today I will. Okay. Yes.
This is what I'll say to you. This is what I've learned in a little bit of time that I've had to counsel people in their relationships. Do not judge a matter until you heard both sides. Because your emotions get involved, and some people are so deceptive that they'll have you thinking and believing in one thing. Even in their presence, they'll pretend to be a certain way. And that's all you ever see about them. You don't see how they are at home. But you have to get the other party involved before you can allow the Most High to give you accurate information and cause you to base your opinion or your decision upon the testimony of both parties. You should never base your decision solely upon one person's word when there's two or multiple people involved in a situation.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So
Thank you for that.
I would love to sit down and counsel the brothers and sisters if they want to rectify this, or they're just trying to have some type of resolution come from it, then I'm willing to help the best I can. And whatever
Okay.
happens is between us.
Yes. Okay. Great. 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 All right.
You had another question?
That for right now, those is my two questions about the accountability and when he quoted the scripture. So for right now.
But I have to make this known to you. The wife should never neglect her husband of sexual favor, ever,
Right.
unless she's unclean
Mm-hmm.
and unless she's unclean.
Yes. Yes.
That she should never neglect her duties to her husband. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Now, if she has a compassionate husband, she can request and he can allow that request to be granted if he's a compassionate husband. But if she married a terrorist, she's just going to be having a relationship that's just horrible relationship. Sometimes you do that when you don't properly court people and make a decision at the end of that courtship, whether you want to be with that individual or not.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Cecilia, shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Abigail had her hand up first.
Oh, she did? Okay. You know what? Hands, I can only see hands when they pop up on the screen. So Sister Abigail, please forgive me. I'm sorry.
No problem. So my question is, when you were talking about husband and the wife, and if, as long as they're husband and wife, if she goes off and commits adultery, then that sin falls on him because they're still married. But my question is, if a wife is under a husband and the husband decides to go off on a tangent and starts doing wickedness, does his sin fall upon her?
It does. It does. The best thing she can do is go before the Most High and ask for mercy and forgiveness.
Okay.
He becomes that wicked, ask him for a bill so that you can be released from that. And when you get that bill, go find your male covering, either a father, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, somebody that's a male figure. Even your spiritual leader can be your covering. Sex ain't got nothing to do with this man being your covering. If he's your covering, he does not have to take you for a wife to be your covering. Okay? So if that man grants her a bill, run and get your new covering.
Okay, that was it. I
All
think Itia was next, and then Cecilia.
Italia,
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
All honor, all glory, all praises to the sovereign King of the universe. And I just wanted to start out, when you were talking earlier, you were speaking on like things that we took with us from last Shabbat, and I did want to make mention of that first, that I have been meditating on a lot of things that was brought up. First was just making sure that I'm consciously asking for the Most High's protection coming and going. I've really been trying to make sure and not take for granted, that I'm just running to the store and I'm going to come back and everything's going to be fine, but just really considering Yah as my first line of defense, for unseen things that could happen. And so all praises for that. And also really been meditating on the attributes of the creator, and and consciously just really meditating on that, and because what you said made so much sense, and there's so many different ways about the creator's name that we talked about, the way that that was being pronounced, and every group that says it in a different way, they all feel that they have this divine insight that that's exactly how it's pronounced, and it's just so much confusion, so, and it's just been very like enlightening to my spirit, just thinking of other powerful ways to acknowledge the creator, so I wanted to share that. But and this is not really so much on what y'all been talking about, although I'm taking very good notes and taking it all in. But my question is, over the years, I've been making, fringes for myself, for others. I've sent them all across the United States and to different countries. And I praise the creator for, just allowing me to do something that I feel like is, really meaningful. And I put a lot of time and effort into that. And over the years, I've been attacked by people who say they are righteous people, and they will jump on my posts, or if I place something in a group or something about, the fringes that I have, I'm attacked with, oh, sister, that ain't, what is them things? And, and that I'm making them the wrong way. And so this week also, I started looking into, some things, and I came across, and I never read anything. I don't even want to call this a book because it was so full of insults towards people of color, the Hebrew people, that the Talmud or something like that. And I did see in there where they have this description of how I make the four corner tassels. They have it in a way where it's like the first knot represents this, and I'm not thinking about that. I just really just base mine off of nice color patterns and making sure it has the cord of blue. That's the only thought process that goes into that when I'm making them. But I get so criticized by people telling me, "Oh, you doing that wrong, and that ain't how the Hebrews wore our fringes." And and I'm really looking at the verses that we have about putting it on the corners of your garment. But then also I asked the creator to give me, divine understanding and make sure that I'm doing this right. And it, I don't have no problem. I like both styles, the way, where I love how it looks with the fringe going all the way around. I don't look at nobody or judge them or say, yo, you doing that incorrectly, like people are doing me. And I have garments that are made like that, but the ones that I make are the four corner that you attach to your garment. And I just wanted to see if you had any insight, because I did, after I prayed and ask the creator, am I doing this right? Because I just want to, I don't want to be doing something incorrectly, because a lot of people say that's a Jewish tradition, that they're the ones that came up with that and we're wrong. And I'm like, no, because they don't even put the cord of blue. They just wear some white strings hanging from their clothes, And so I started thinking about when the creator said he was going to gather us from the four corners. And to be honest with you, my next thought was, that doesn't mean he's just going to gather us from this corner, that corner, that corner, that corner. It means that he's going to gather us from all around, from every place. So I was like, well, maybe that is what that means. Like, you're supposed to wear them all around. I'm not sure, but I was just curious if you had any feedback to that, and why people feel like I'm doing something that's not of Hebrew culture, but Jewish tradition.
Oh gosh.
I'm kind of tired of being attacked with it. So if I'm doing something wrong, I will change it. But I mean, it's
Yes.
sad that people just come at me like that, and then I end up having to block them or something. Like, I don't want to argue about that, but just thought I would ask.
May the Most High be pleased. You making fringes to the way that you understand fringes to be made. So in the book of the book of Numbers, does it tell you how to make fringes? It just tells you what they are, right?
That's correct.
It just tells you to make these fringes and make them with a ribbon of blue, correct?
Okay.
Don't allow anyone else to manipulate your thinking and your mind, your spirit, to cause you to do as they want for you to do. Now, those fringes that the sister's showing in the thing, that's a beautiful fringe. They look beautiful. I have garments with fringes just like that. But then I also have garments with fringes like this. You see, there's a different types of fringes. What I do is I look at the fact that you're wearing, you're displaying what your representation of fringes are. That I appreciate. For if, like the sister has a garment that she's showing, for anybody to take the time to put that on their garments, that is a wonderful devotional thing to the Most High. It's very important. It's great. It's a wonderful thing to wear. But that doesn't mean that they're any more right than anyone else who does it the other way. The one thing that I heard you say that I do agree with in this essence between right and wrong is that the Yids, the European guys, those guys, they don't wear a ribbon of blue on their fringes that I've seen. That would make it unlawful because you are commanded to put a ribbon of blue on your fringes. So when you make your fringes, they should have a ribbon of blue around the borders somewhere within your garment, within your fringe. There should be a ribbon of blue, a single ribbon of blue, somewhere on your fringe. Excuse me. The way that my sister is displaying them, the way she displaying them, there's a ribbon of blue around them. The only thing that I didn't hear you mention that you said in your good heart and your good spirit, the only thing that you do is make them and put a ribbon of blue, is that you have to make them out of 100% natural material.
Yes, most definitely. I failed to mention that, but that's a fact.
Yeah. You shouldn't use polyester. You shouldn't use nylon or acrylic. You should use 100% natural raw fabrics. And other than that, I don't see anything wrong. Matter of fact, you can talk to my wife. She might get some of them cells from you.
May I say something real quick, sis? Basically what I do, the tassel. You got the tassel, hold on. See the tassel right there? Have the blue in it. And the others, that's the fringes, and the border is all around the skirt or your shirt, however you do it. I don't know, the fringes and the tassel here with the ribbon of blue in it, and all around the borders is the blue.
That's nice, sis. Another thing is,
Thank you.
A lot of people, let me show you this. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll try to pull it up a little bit. You see how let me see if I can you see how my fringe is in the middle of my garment, right? A lot of people got a problem with that. They want you to wear one on this corner, one on that corner. Yeah. And they'll criticize you and they'll critique you about it. But this is what I say. These two corners are joined together in that corner. So I put one fringe there and I put one fringe on the other side. Now, if somebody says, well, Prince, I want you to put one on this corner, one on that corner, then they give me the fringes and I'll put it on. I don't have a problem with them. I'm not going to make a big thing out of it because I think the most important thing is that you have your representation of fringes, that you're abiding by that law according to how you understand it to be. Now, if you knew the law required that and you just didn't do it, then I could see somebody complaining to you. But what happens with us as a people is that we try to make people be what we want people to be. And usually we want people to be just like us. And that's not good. It's not good. When I got in here and I said to the family, I said, I know a lot of y'all are doing this and a lot of y'all are doing that, but I don't have no problem with it. I'm just here to instruct and teach and show you. You can make that decision on your own. You know, I'm not going to force anybody to do what I want them to do. I don't have the ability to do that. Neither do I have the time or the effort. So when people get on your Facebook page and try to demand of you, critique you, or criticize you, you don't have to block them. Just ignore them. They'll eventually go away. Just ignore them. I wouldn't suggest you block people because that takes too much effort on your behalf to actually do. You got to move your finger and you got to push a button.
Well, that's only after they continue and continue, because for the most of the time, I say the same thing over and over. I always compliment them. I say, oh, well, that's beautiful. May the Creator bless our efforts. That's been my same line I've been saying over and over. It's only when they continue to, like, you know, I'm like, I'm not going to argue about this, you know, and then that's when I just block them. But okay, thank you. I get it, you know, and I feel in my spirit that, you know, I'm not doing anything incorrectly, you know, and this is what I was brought. And when I first learned of this commandment and I didn't have anybody to get any fringes for me, I remember going home, cutting up my shirts and dresses that I wore to make a fringe on the bottom. And I took a blue marker and made a border. That's how serious that I was like, okay, I gotta get, you know, I'm thinking that's what I need to do. But it's kind of comical, but I'm just thinking back, like that was my first instinct to make it like that, to make a fringe around the bottom and then just draw that blue line on there. But all right, I just wanted to just hear your feedback. That's all. Toda.
I never got that creative, but thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Are there any other questions? Did anyone else have any questions?
Cecilia has a question.
Cecilia, shalom.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah.
I just wanted to speak to the feedback that Princess, Mr. Princess, gave about going to the Father first, and then things will happen. You know, according to her experience, things happen faster. But I was wondering, the dynamics of every relationship might be different also. And going to the Father is the ideal thing and the correct thing to do. However, the connection that the husband might have with the Father, that he immediately by the Spirit is led to connect with his wife and solve the issue that is between them, is based on his connection with the Father. You know, not everybody has that type of connection, you know. And so even though the woman might go to the Father first, you know, he might need other avenues in which to get that issue resolved. You know, they might need other avenues by which to get the issue resolved. So I was just speaking to that feedback that she gave. It might not come as quickly for other people as it does for some, because of the connection they might have with the Creator.
Well, I thank you for the compliment, sis.
Mm-hmm.
I do, but I honestly agree with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand that a lot of times the Most High has a way of causing you to wait and ponder upon a resolution or an answer or response to whatever it is your request may be from him. You know, each and every individual is different. You know, sometimes he don't. I like to. This is how I. Usually, what happens is the Most High. Someone has to mute their phone. The Most High hears and the Most High responds, but a lot of times you don't understand the language of the Most High. Therefore, you don't see your answer. You don't get your answer because it's not coming in a way that you think it's supposed to come. Sometimes you have to let the Most High talk to you as opposed to you telling him how to talk to you. And usually that's what we do. We'll tell the Most High what we're looking for and what we want, and then we'll expect it to come to us just the way that we see it. The Most High doesn't always work like that. A lot of times the Most High comes to you in dreams and visions, sometimes in your sleep. Sometimes the Most High comes to you through the actions of other people. He might even come to you through the actions of your children, but you'll ignore because you're saying, well, that ain't the Most High speaking to me. How many of you ever heard that story about the man who was in the boat when the town was flooded and he was in the boat and he kept saying to the Creator, asking the Creator to save his life, save my life, save my life. So this man came past in a helicopter and put down a ladder, and the man turned and said, no, I'm waiting for the Lord. The Lord is going to save me. Next time a big bird came by and hovered over the man and swooped down for the man to get on, the man kept saying, I'm waiting for the Lord is going to save me. And the man drowned. The man drowned. And then when the man drowned, he gets up before the Most High. He says, I don't believe in you no more. I ain't messing with you. The Creator says to the man, why? What's the problem? He said, because when I was about to die, I was crying out to you and you didn't help me. The Creator said, I did help you. He said, remember that man that came with the helicopter, with the ladder? I sent him. He says, remember that giant bird that came to swoop you up? I sent him. You didn't heed my help. Now you want to say that I did not do my job when it was in fact you ignored what I sent to you. We do that all the time. But sometimes we'll think it's responding to us, but in reality, what it is we're not understanding, or we don't see, or because it's not coming the way that we want it to come, we say, we blame it on the Most High. You know how people are. People quick to throw the blame somewhere else. It ain't me. It ain't that I got the problem. It ain't that I can't see or I can't hear or I don't know. It's got to be the Most High is ignoring me, or maybe he want me to do something else, which he could. I'm not saying that he doesn't. But most of the time, that's what our problems are. We don't understand the language of the Most High. And it's because we are spiritually out of tune with the Almighty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And all that goes right back to your connection with the Most High and how he speaks with you, how he connects with you. When we are out of sync, we're out of tune, we're out of alignment. You know, if we were conscious and aware of how he deals with us in the various ways, we will know when he's answering us and when he comes to us and he's answering us, so I totally agree.
Yeah, we would. So we got 500 people. Are there any other questions?
Princess has her hand up.
Okay, she.
Oh, I liked what the sister just said, Sister Tusila, because I didn't want to go that deep in what I was saying, but that's pretty much where I was getting at by saying, like, in my marriage now, I realized in my previous relationship that my connection with the Creator was broken. It wasn't strong because when I first came into this walk of life, accepting myself as an Israelite, I had my mind was like, oh, Israelites are so perfect. they say they're the children of the Creator, I just had this like perfect view of nothing can go wrong, you know, amongst this group of people. And so that's how I viewed every person I met when I first came. And then once I started to like pray to the Creator and realize like I wasn't, a lot of the things that I was requesting wasn't getting answered. And I won't say once I started, but later on in this walk, like maybe 10 years into this walk, I started realizing that my misconception of people, and sometimes I feel like it's not a misconception. That's what I truly feel like we should be as a people. We should be this perfect people before Him because we're His chosen, right? But what I realized was that I really didn't have that connection with the Creator. So a lot of things that I was praying for that man at the time to be, I wasn't even that woman at that time. And it took almost about 10 years into this walk for me to start to realize, like, before I can pray for him to be better, I have to pray for me to be better. And I have to pray for my connection to the Creator to become stronger, and not just pray on it, but start to do the work to make it happen. And I really didn't do that until I was by myself, until after him and I divorced. Like I would pray like, oh, you know, Most High, if this is not for me, or if this happens, you know, but I wouldn't get those answers. The one answer that the Creator did give me while I was in that relationship, I remember I had asked the Creator something, I can't even remember what it was, but I remember the answer. The answer basically was like, I wasn't even supposed to marry that person. I was just supposed to be introduced to this walk through that person, but keep moving. And so I took that, and I remember I even brought it up to him, and he was completely upset about it. But I held on to that. I held on to that what the Most High showed me, because a lot of times, and my husband can attest to this, he's taught this many times, that we will ask the Creator for something or guidance, and then instead of waiting for him to give us guidance, we just move on in our own desire and say, well, I guess he said yes because the person keeps coming in my life, but that doesn't mean he's saying yes. That could just mean that that person is being persistent in what they want. But you ask the Creator a question, you're supposed to stay focused on your question and your answer from the Creator. And a lot of times we don't do that. So I was just bringing that to say, like, I can say in the beginning of my walk in this way of life, I didn't do that. I wasn't patient. I didn't have that strong relationship that I have with the Creator now. Like now I'm like, there's nothing that comes between me and the Creator. No one, nothing. Because without him, I wouldn't even exist. I wouldn't be married to my husband. I wouldn't be the mother to the children that I have. You know, I wouldn't be a sister wife to my sister. Without him, he could take all this away. So, you know, once I started to put him first in everything, not just certain things that made me feel good, but with everything, I started to notice that, you know, my mind was clearer. And like you said, when you pray to the Creator, the connection that the Creator has with you as that woman and as that man, it's known more, or it's more pronounced or more seen because of that connection. And I could say that definitely in my marriage with my Ish, because he pushes me to have my connection with the Creator alone from him. And he allows me to be expressive about when I pray to the Creator and the Creator answers me and I bring it to him, he allows me to share that. And that's another part of that connection that a lot of women don't have, because so many men want to be in control of every aspect of your life. But in a lot of times, you know, that's the one aspect in life that a man is not in control of, your relationship with the Creator. And we have to be understanding that when the Most High is showing us something, yes, we're married to him, and he is our head, but it's so important that we have that openness to be able to say, Ish, I just had this vision, or the Most High just showed me something, and he can say, hey, well, let's let's meditate on that some more. Or let me think about that. A lot of men don't do that because they are so afraid of a woman having her connection with the creator, because they know, most men know, that if a woman prays to the creator, cries out to him, because the Most High tells us to, that the Most High will correct them. He may not correct them in the way that we want, but most men know, and us women know too, that the creator is going to correct us one way or the other. So, I just want to say that.
Okay. Everybody. Do we have any hands up?
No hands up currently, no.
All right. Does anyone know who a coach Shakita is?
Shaquita, Danette, is that Shaquita we met at the park?
Shaquita?
Yes, that's me.
Shabbat
Yeah.
Shalom.
Shabbat
Yeah,
shalom.
sis.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, sis. Is this your first time?
No.
Okay. So we already know who you are. You introduced yourself to the family already?
Yes. I was at the Shabbat at the resort, I think it was.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for
Shabbat
coming.
shalom.
And then we got Benjamin on here. Is that you, Benjamin, twice?
Oh no, that's somebody else.
Benjamin, you introduce yourself, please. Oh, that's Benjamin. I was here. Brother Benjamin, Mike, you can't hear.
A lot of Benyamins.
Yeah, but speaking, I can't hear.
Benyamin Enoch in Augusta.
Oh, you're speaking? Who are you? Oh, that's my man. Okay, hey, Shalom. Hey, listen, introduce yourself to the family, man. Let everybody know who you are. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sorry, a little delay. Benyamin. I'm moved from Cincinnati. I came into knowledge, listening to. I was in Cincinnati, House of Israel, Cincinnati under More Elisha, and Cincinnati came down to Georgia about 3 years ago, and now once in a while come up here and check out Prince KEZZ and tune in.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. And he's been around quite a while now. Years now. Doing good. There's a lot more he can really tell you about himself, but he's on the so that we're gonna keep it up there. Welcome to have you, brother. Welcome to have you.
Brother, Shabbat Shalom.
How you feeling about the class today, my brother? You have any anything you'd like to mention or bring in?
Nope, good class. Good class. You asked a question earlier about, some things that we have probably meditated or learned that you have taught. And I know you did speak a little while ago about in Goshen, you talked about like, being servant and in certitude, and you were speaking about how times we do things for people, but if we do it with an attitude, or if we do things unwillingly or just cause, you were saying how it's not good. Even if you ask a wife to do something, you can tell they just got a bad spirit about it. He was talking about going a little bit into that. And even the Most High talks about, he wants us to give willingness. He wants us to be willing and happy to give. Even the Most High talks about, the spirit in which we do things. And, it gets very profound how you even talked about that. Most people, grandmas will talk about even when they cook, the type of energy behind what they put in the food, you know, being in a good lifted spirit, or maybe way back in the day when they cooking a cake, they didn't want too much jumping and running and yelling, you know, because they want the cake to turn out good. So I know I was recently thinking about that this week, and you was talking about that lesson, and those lessons I always try to make applicable to life and self improvement. So that was one of the things I was meditating on this week that you spoke about before.
That's great. I'm glad I could be of service, man. That's my job, to serve the people. But I need you to know that it makes me feel good that that lesson was taught a long time ago. And for you to still recall that message and you are applying those teachings to your life, it means a lot to me. It means that the things that I said out of my mouth are not all falling on deaf ears. So it really means a lot. It puts a lot of work into this, a lot of work. All right, anyone else have any questions? Any comments? Yes.
Question. My question is, how do you deal with, let's say you have elders in this walking in your life, and these elders are in position of leadership, but you see things being done that's kind of against law, you know, like unrighteous things being done. How are you supposed to deal with it? Are you supposed to like cut ties with that brother, or are you supposed to, you know, at a certain extent still be your brother's keeper?
Well, I heard you say two different things. The first thing I heard you say was leaderships, as if it's more than one individual, and then you turned it and said leader. Now it's one brother. So I'll address it as if it's multiple or an individual. Here it is. First thing you should do is go to the Most High and make sure that the Most High allows you to see things the way that they are and not the way that you want to see things. Because a lot of times it'd be us who be in error and not necessarily the people that the Most High sent in our lives. But then sometimes you have people in position of leadership that's really no good, really evil, wicked people. And you may be seeing just that evil or wicked person. So when you go to the Most High, you ask the Most High to guide you righteously so that you will know if it's you with the problem, help you to fix it. If it's them with the problem, then give you the ability to speak to them and expose them to the things that they need to change in their lives, their behavior, or their conduct. So now once you do that, you ask the Most High for his help. Then you approach the individual that you have the issues with, or the individuals, leadership. Sometimes you can put it in the form of a letter. If you can get an audience with them, which is always best to me, live, personal, upright, upfront conversation is always best. If you can do that, then that's the way you do it. But you have to have that sit down with them. You give them the opportunity to change. After you've had that conversation with them and you realize that it's them, you give them the opportunity to change. And if they don't change, then you change leadership. That's just how real it is. But for you to just get up and feel some kind of way about somebody who's in a position of leadership, you could actually be causing sin upon yourself. Because if they're servants of the Most High and you speak foul against them, the Most High could even take your life for that. So you have to be real careful how you deal with leadership. What, when you know and you see leadership that's just straight wicked, I would run. I would run. And while I'm running, I'm open my mouth and say, yo, can we get a hearing for these brothers over here? Can we have a sit down so we can discuss what's going on in the camp or our house of worship, our community, or whatever it is, man? And I would speak to people who are more on the righteous side of things than just speaking to other people to bring about destruction. That's what I would do. Just so happens that I don't know nobody like that right now that I have to walk with. The ones that I know that's foul and corrupt, I keep my distance.
Yeah.
You know, just like that question was asked earlier about the sisters who know, who could think of a feminine sister that's a role model for our people today. You can ask that same question about righteous men. What man in leadership today do you really consider to be a righteous leader? And you'll be surprised at how many people would say, I don't know of any, or my leader is not a spiritual, he's not a righteous, and they just leave it at that. But yet they sit with that man and worship with that man and stay underneath of that man for years. But they know that he's a wicked man. I don't know how people could do that. I guess themselves must be wicked too. They must be using that excuse that there's nobody perfect, so got to take what I got. No, you can find people that's really about the Most High's business because they're here. They're in the earth. It might be a few of them, might be a good handful of them, might be a couple fingers of them, but they're here. You just got to search them out. You really got to find them. And when you find them, you hold on to them. You don't let them go. But before you do anything like that, you always go to the Most High and ask him, is this man your servant? Is he your messenger? Does he obey you to the best of his ability? Again, don't look for perfection, because if you look for perfection, you're never going to find anybody. No one on the earth is perfect. I know what I say, but nobody in the earth is perfect. Neither me or any other man. None. But there are many of us who are more, how can I say, more in tune with the Most High and obedient to the Most High and doing the Most High's will than others. Everybody's doing his will, but there are others who are doing his will in a more magnified capacity for the betterment of the people rather than the destruction of the people. Okay?
Yeah, totally.
Very important, man. Very important. Your question was a great question as well. A lot of people are dealing with those issues, those problems, and they don't know where to turn. I say turn to the Most High and then turn to your leadership. And then if their leadership doesn't show improvement, turn away from them and flee. And when you flee, don't use that as an excuse not to find other leadership. Don't use that as a reason. Oh man, them leaders ain't no good. And clog everybody in with that same box, because it's not true. Most High has men in this earth that he sat here to lead his people back to him. The problem is the majority of the people are infested with a spirit that is not unlike the Most High. Thereby, that leader, a lot of people run from him because the people are not really ready to run to the Creator. See, there's a difference. So that's why I say you got to ask the Most High who that individual is or who those individuals are. And once he shows you, you take a hold of that garment, just like the scripture says, and you say, lead me to the Creator. And you do what you have to do to be led to the Most High. Today, we have so much ego inside of us, so much pride and arrogance inside of us, that it's very difficult for us to subject ourselves to the teaching of another man, especially being a man yourself. And you don't strike me to be one of those soft men. You know, we got a lot of soft men in the nation. You don't strike me to be of that nature. You seem to be, from my dealings with you, a very strong and confident man and moving in a certain aura about yourself that demands respect. Not that you're looking for it, you got to have it, but your personality demands respect from anybody. You know? So if you decide that you want to have yourself, for you, for your family, a spiritual leader, he has to be of a certain quality, certain character, because you're not just going to allow anything and everything to just be someone that you have to subject yourself to their teachings. You also got to be careful of people who put themselves in position of leadership and haven't been put there by the Most High. Those are usually the ones that learn this thing on YouTube, you know, and watching people and imitating others. That's how they usually get in those positions. But those who have been inspired by the Almighty are ones who set up institutions within the nation of Israel, things that live on long after that individual is gone. Major institutions, major things that are truly a gift of divine revelation from the Almighty. Then that's how one of the ways that you can tell, that you can know. And test the spirit, test them, see where they at, you know, because they tell you one thing and be totally different behind closed doors.
Very true.
Yep. I mean, I done heard a lot of stories about a lot of leadership all over the planet, man, all over the planet. I'm just thankful that the Most High does for me what he does for me. You know, I'm very appreciative. Very appreciative. All right, are there any other questions?
Benjamin has his hand up. I don't know if it was from earlier, but it's up now.
All right, my brother Benjamin, did you want to speak?
Okay, yeah. Question is, how can we improve? How can we grow, improve, magnify our fear of the Most High? What kind of things can we do?
That's simple. You said your fear of the Most High?
Correct.
You should never fear the Most High. Never. You know, people say, if a vicious dog is coming at you and is about to attack you, some people get fearful and scared. That frightenness makes them freeze, and the dog gets them and bites them and chew them up, and they end up losing their lives. Some people, that vicious dog is coming to attack, they looking for something to bust that dog upside the head with, to take on that challenge, to fight that dog. So different people respond differently in different situations. I remember I was attacked by a pit bull one day, and I knew it wasn't nowhere I could go. So I took on my fighting stand. I was ready to do what I had to do. And the dog jumped up and started licking me. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. But I was ready to rumble. At that time, I had no weapon on me or nothing. I was ready to rumble. But the Most High turned that dog's aggression into a pleasant thing. He started licking me, and I was cool with it. But there was no fear in my heart. I don't fear the Creator. Neither would I advise for any man to fear the Creator, because when you fear something, you're not at your best. You're at your weakest. Fear. The weakest that you get at the Most High has to be at your best to serve Him. Fear that they have in the scriptures where they tell you to fear the Creator is not fear like we think fear is. It's an awe for the Creator. It's a reverence for the Almighty. It's not a fear like you're scared or you're going to tremble. If you're fearful of anything in reference to the Creator, you would fear to let Him down. You don't fear Him. When you bring about fear upon yourself, that's a spirit. And that spirit usually causes you to not properly respond in a situation because you're fearful. Like I gave that first scenario, the first man, he was afraid of that dog. And what did he do? He froze and he died. Excuse me. You ever played a joke on somebody and they walk in the house, go, ah, and they punch you? You know what I mean? You thought you was going to put fear in them and see another side of them. If that person was a weaker man or woman, you would have saw that. That's fear. But the other person that ain't got, that he's ready or she's ready, you jump out on them, you might get poked. Quick, because they waiting for people to do things like that. How do you get fear of the Creator? I would say don't get fear of the Most High. But application solves your problem that I really think you're trying to ask. How do you get closer, become a better servant of the Most High, is what I think I'm hearing you say. And the best way to do that is through practicing the things that you know the Most High requires of you. These laws, statutes, and commandments are extremely important. But if you walk in your integrity, that's an automatic bump up to being in a proper alignment with the Almighty. Walking your integrity means that I know I ain't got no business having this woman in my house at 12 o'clock at night, and she ain't my wife, she don't live here, and we up here doing some things that we ain't got no business doing. I know I shouldn't be doing it, so I ain't gonna do it. So the sister keep coming, she keep calling, and you keep saying, no, babe, we can't do that. No, sis, we can't do that. No, sis, stop, stop, stop. Because your integrity tell you it's wrong. Don't go against your integrity and you'll be fine. Now, if you don't see anything wrong with that, don't mean that it's right. But if you're not lying to yourself by covering up your integrity, then the Most High deal with you differently. But if you know you're wrong and you're still doing it, you will never have a good relationship with the Creator. Every man, every woman should walk in their integrity, especially when somebody else is putting trust in you. You don't want to let them down either. You want to be the best that you could possibly be. So in being the best that you can possibly be, the only way that you can do that is to do the things that you know are necessary, right, and correct. Even if you're wrong, you move in your integrity and you ask for forgiveness. May the Most High increase your knowledge. But if you don't know you're wrong, you don't know, and you're doing the best that you know to do, then who can judge you on that other than the Most High? So, bro, if you want to build that relationship with the Most High, it's through your walk, living in your integrity, and through proper application of His truth, His laws, the things that He requires of you. You know, I pray that I've answered your question, my brother.
Cecilia has a question.
Yes, sis.
Yes, I totally agree with your feedback to the brother. I was gonna ask, is loving the Creator the same as fearing Him? Because I know in a certain scripture, I don't remember which scripture it says. It says, I guess it's in Genesis. It says, "Thou shalt love, the Most High with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind." Is that the same as fearing Him?
Is that the same that I'm saying, fear? Yes, it will be yes. Reverencing the Almighty. Now, the way that people say fear and boo-hoo, I'm scared, no, that's different. But if you're saying, is that the type of fear that I'm saying? Yes, it will be correct. With everything that you got, you're afraid to let them down. You don't want to let them down. You don't want to disappoint them. You want to be everything that you think He wants you to be. Yes, it will be the same. Very good analogy. Any other questions?
I had a question, but it's a little bit, I'm not sure if it goes along with the topic you were originally going to talk about, but I'll just put it to the table. Could you talk about more of John 3:16, only begotten Son, versus Exodus 5:22, Israel is my son. We mentioned that last Sabbath, and I thought that was so profound, as I told you. And we just need to hear it. Like,
Okay.
can we dive deeper into that? But if that's not exactly what you want to talk about, that's okay
This
too.
book is open for whatever needs to be discussed. And that would be something that we can talk about. That's a very good point. Iman, can you get, matter of fact, Autumn, Ishi, grab John 3:16, if you have a New Testament there. Grab John 3:16.
Okay,
And
one second.
Iman, can you get Exodus 4:22?
Can I make a comment real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of slow. I got to do a whole lot of passwords and codes. Yes. So what you were saying about fear, you better believe I was confused when you went into it. But I was looking on what you were saying and checking out the Hebrew on the words of fear and checking more onto what you were saying about the awe and the respect and honor more so than scared, and I know that's a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to studying, like truly studying the scriptures is that language, just like he was talking about wife and woman. It's a lot of misunderstandings, but when I always go back to the Hebrew and kind of really study into it and look at how things is used, even in our English language, we use the same words, but we use them in a different way. And those slight variances can change the whole understanding of things. And I appreciate that insight. That really changes my whole perspective on how that whole verse is understood. Even me simply looking up the Hebrew word fear and the different ways that it can be used, and not just looking at the, how we understand it in terms of the English language. So I just want to comment on that. And yeah, you did answer my question. So appreciate that to that.
Very good. Thank you. May the Most High be praised.
But you said Exodus 5?
Yeah, I want you to get 4:22.
4:22. Okay.
Yes.
I said 5:22. I'm sorry. Was that the right one?
Yeah, Exodus 4:22, and I want you to get John 3:16.
Okay.
Let me know when y'all get it.
I got it. You want me to do John first?
Nope. I want. Iman, can you read out?
Yes. Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Creator, Yishmael is my son, my firstborn. And I have said unto thee, let my son.
That's enough. All I want to hear is,
Right.
if you're not speaking, can you your mic, please? Exodus 4:22 says, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, who's speaking? Anybody know who's speaking?
Moshe.
No, Moshe is
Most High speak.
the Most High is speaking. Correct. Most High is speaking. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. His firstborn son is Israel. Now, if y'all not here, y'all get ready to miss something. I see a couple people left the room. They get ready to miss something. And Ishi, read that one that you got, please, in John 3:16.
Mm-hmm. John 3:16, for the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life.
Okay. Now, who's that only begotten son?
Supposedly Christ.
That's what they say. That's what they teach. But I want to submit something to you, that Israel is still that only begotten son. Well, how could that be, Prince? I have to be real delicate in how I say this because I know that a lot of our people follow, believe, and teach and live according to what they believe to be true. How could it be talking about Israel? The Most High says that the children of Israel is a light unto the world. Somebody grab Isaiah 42 for me. Let me see what that says. Isaiah 42:1 speaks about the servant of the Most High. Somebody grab that for me. Let me see. If I get it before you read it. You got it? Isaiah 42:1?
Yes.
Could you read it for me? Just start with the read. Let me see what it says.
Behold, my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall make the right to go forth to the nations.
He should do what?
He shall make the right to go forth to the nations.
My book says to bring forth judgment unto the nations, but that's still cool. Keep reading, please.
He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the dimly burning wick shall he not quench. He shall make the right to go forth according to the truth. He shall not fail, nor be crushed, till he have set the right in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his teaching.
Who we talking about? Who the Most High talking about?
Us.
He's talking about the nation of Israel. But keep reading, let's see. Because some is going to still say that he's talking about individual and not the nation of Israel. But keep reading and let's see what it says.
Thus saith the Creator our power, he that created the heavens and stretched them forth, he that spread forth the earth and the which cometh out of it, he that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. I, the Creator, have called thee in righteousness, and have taken hold of thy hand, and kept thee, and set thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the nations, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house.
And watch this inspiration, what he says. I am the Creator, and that is my name, and my glory will I not give unto another, neither my praise to graven images. That's what he says, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now watch this part right here. It's Isaiah 46 now. He talks about, 44. Now read 44 and see who that servant was that the Most High was speaking about.
Yet now hear, O Yaakov, my servant.
Hold on. He said all those great things about his servant and what the job of his servant would be. Now let's see who that servant is. Read it. Let's see what it says.
Yet now hear, O Yaakov, my servant, and Yisrael, whom I have chosen.
Who did he talk to?
Us.
Who's to?
Us.
And what did he call us?
Yaakov and Yisrael, his servant.
His servant. So Isaiah 42, where it says that he should bring judgment to the Gentiles, and he should open the eyes of the blind and bring the prisoners out of the prison house and be a light unto the nations. Who was he talking to? He was Israel. Amy, close your mic, please. So in essence, what it is the Most High is talking to the house of Israel. They are his servants, not one individual, but the nation of Israel. Ishi, you present? I need you to grab the book of Exodus, the 6th chapter. Exodus, the 19th chapter, the 6th verse.
19.
19 and 6. And we'll read that what it says, please.
Okay. You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the.
That's all I need to read. He says, you shall be in our righteous state. In our righteous state, we shall be unto the people a priest and a holy nation. We shall open the eyes of the blind and lead the blind out of darkness. Unto who? Unto the Most High. Israel is my servant, even my firstborn. Exodus 4:22 says, Israel is my son. He's my son. Now, John 3:16 comes back and says, what John 3:16 said?
1 second, I'm sorry. John 3:16. For the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son.
Well, if I only got a firstborn son, and then somebody says only begotten son, then that means that my firstborn son must have been my only son, right?
Right.
The Creator said Israel was his firstborn. And then John come back and says he gave his only begotten. So if he says he gave his only begotten, and let's say it's being factual and truthful, then that only begotten has to be the children of Israel. The children of Israel was the servants of the Most High. So family, in essence, what I'm trying to tell you is that New Testament book is written about you. They took and combined you into one character and called you by one name and gave you one life story and said, this is this man that we want you to worship. In reality, that's what took place. That New Testament is talking about the children of Israel. Hosea, somebody grab Hosea, the 11th chapter, verse 1, please.
Which chapter?
Hosea, the 11th chapter, verse 1.
I got that. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Mizraim.
When Israel was a child, then I loved him, and I called my son out of Mitzrayim. Do anybody know what that means? Nobody knows what that means? All right. Let's see what the New Testament says it means. Let's go to the book of Matthew.
Is that talking about when he brought us out of Egypt, into the...
Exactly. In the book of Matthew, it says that this prophecy, what does it say? I think it's the 3rd chapter. It says that this prophecy might be fulfilled that speaks about when my son was in Egypt. I'm going to have to find it. I think it's the 3rd chapter. Somebody grab the 3rd chapter of Matthew.
It's the 3rd chapter. It's actually the 2nd chapter, the 15th verse.
The 15th verse?
Yeah.
Okay, read that. You're right. You're right. I overlooked it. I'm sorry. Read that, please, sis. You got it. Could you read it, please? Now watch this, family. Whoever read Hosea, hold your finger on Hosea. Read this again, please.
And was there until the death of Herod that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the deity, spoken by the Creator through the prophet, saying, out of Egypt I called my son.
So now they're giving prophecy, and they're saying that the Creator said, out of Egypt I called my son. But they're referencing that son and giving us the understanding that that son is the character of the New Testament that they call Yeshua.
Mm-hmm.
But prophecy that reflects upon that is in the book of Hosea. Hosea, the 11th chapter, the 1st verse. So whoever that was that read Hosea 11:1, read it again, please.
When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Mizraim.
So again, what did they try to do? They try to divert the attention, the true intentions of the Most High from the children of Israel and put it on a fictitious character, on an individual that they want you to look to. The scriptures, the prophecies are all talking about the children of Israel, not one man. And if you understand the New Testament in that light, it'll become so much clearer for you. Because the children of Israel, matter of fact, what is that? Psalms Psalms. Let me grab it. Let me grab it. What is that at in Psalms? Psalms, and I know it. Yeah, Psalms 2. Go to the second chapter of Psalms, please. Anybody grab it? Just let me know you got it.
Got it. Which verse?
First, start at verse 11. What verse 11 say?
Okay, Psalm 2.
11.
Serve the Most High with fear and rejoice with trembling. Verse 12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and perish you to rebellion. With his wrath ignites in an instant. Blessed are those who take refuge in him.
That's enough. Kiss the Son. Who's the Son of the Most High?
Us.
Go back to Exodus 4:22. Who did the Most High say was his son?
Israel.
So they are to kiss us. We are to bring salvation to the whole earth. That's our job. We are their saviors. We are, not that one individual, but us, the nation of Israel, are the salvation to the whole planet. They don't get it unless we give it to them. And we don't get it unless we get it from the Almighty. But yet nobody's to worship us. To kiss us means to honor us. And right now they're not honoring us. They're dishonoring us. They took our whole story, rewrote it, and gave it back to us and making us think it's somebody other than us. We are the sons of the Most High, the sons of the Almighty. The Creator says, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. Kiss the Son, unless his wrath be turned against you and he destroy you. Hey, listen, I'm not beating up on nobody. My job is to expose the truth as the Most High reveals it to me. That's all I do. You can agree with it, you can dislike it, you can argue with me, but one thing you can't do is refute it. You can't refute it because I read it right out the book. I didn't have to interpret anything. Everything that I read, you read it and it said exactly what I told you it said. I didn't have to add my twist. All I had to do was tie the chapters together, tie the verses together, and let you see what the Father was saying to you. That's it. They took that book and flipped it around and gave it back to us. And now they got us practicing idolatry and we don't even know it. There's a lot of things that they do to us. A lot of things even those who are Torah-abiding Hebrew Israelites practice idolatry, many of us. And we don't even know it, but we do. We have to be careful about what we do. We need the people who are rightfully divided by the Most High, divined by the Most High, to bring us back to the Most High's truth. This thing ain't gonna stop with no one or two instances of people standing up exposing you to things, because Christianity is deeply embedded within us. It's deeply embedded within us. They will leave hints and tracks all over the place, but if you ain't got the right nose, or if you ain't got the right spirit, you're not going to see the hints and the tales and the things that you need to put this thing together. You know, they say precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. That's how you're supposed to study the scriptures. The Most High says that precept upon precept was put there intentionally to make you stumble and fall backwards so that you couldn't see. You understand what I'm saying? But this is what they teach us. Where is that at, Prince? Where is that at? Isaiah, the 28th chapter? Somewhere around verse 11, 12, 13 or something. Precept upon precept.
Verse 10.
Say it again.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. No, that's the first.
Yeah,
that's the first.
Yeah, I think it's verse. Yeah, I think it's verse 10.
Okay, read verse 10, sis.
Let me get it here real quick.
That might be the first one.
Yeah.
But the one a little bit further
Yeah,
down.
Isaiah.
Go ahead, read it.
Isaiah 28.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Isaiah 28, verse 10. Precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
Keep reading, please.
Okay, verse 11. For with stammering lips and other tongue will he speak to his people, to this people, to whom he said, this is the rest wherewith you may cause the weary to rest.
What
This
verse?
is the refreshing, yet they should not hear.
What verse you on?
That's verse 12.
He says, this is the refreshing, but yet will not hear. Keep reading. What is it that they shouldn't hear?
Okay.
What's the next verse?
Verse 13.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Verse 13 says, but the word of the Most High was to them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backwards and be broken and snare and taken.
Thank you. So exactly what I
Yes.
said, it was present in that exact. This therefore
Right.
reason. Most High said that his word came to them as precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, so that they will fall backwards and be taken. So you got to know where to look for these things because it's there. It's in the scriptures. It's real clear. Everybody can't see. Although they can read, everybody can't see. Thank you for that reading, sis.
Yes. Welcome. Yes.
So we got a lot of work to do, family. A lot of work.
I have a question real quick. The
Yes.
part where it says in the John 3:16 part that who believes on him shall have everlasting, right? So we're saying, okay, even in that verse, that is talking about Israel, right? So when it says like who believes on him shall have everlasting life, like what does that mean? Like who gonna believe on us?
It should say for them who believe on who believes on them, our teachings, our duties, our responsibility, and what we have to teach them, they have to believe and accept. And if they don't believe and accept, then the wrath of the Most High falls upon them. But if they do believe and accept, then they have to change their lives and take hold to the hem of our garment and say, lead me to your maker. That's law. I mean, not law, but that's scripture. In those days, they will take hold of him who is a Jew and say, lead me to your maker. That's scripture. That's not Prince. That's the scripture.
What's that one?
Micah. I believe it's Micah. Somebody typing away.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I believe it's Micah. Okay, sorry, Zechariah. I was way off. Zechariah 8:23. Let me read it. Thus saith the Creator of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, shall even take hold of thy skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you.
Cut.
So there it is, fam. I mean, there's nothing else to be said. We are what they try to make you think somebody else is. And remember, I read to you in Psalms 83. I just read that last week, Psalms 83, how all the nations conspire together to come and take the truth of the Most High away from you, so that the name of Yisrael will no longer be in remembrance. They don't want you knowing who you are. When they had us in slavery and captivity here in America, they made laws against us from reading the book. Why did they do that? They made laws and scriptures from reading the book so that we could not read. That last scripture was Zechariah, the 8th chapter, the 23rd verse. They didn't want you to read the book because they didn't want you to know who you were. You are the children of the Most High. Last week in class, we read it. It said the Most High will cause his spirit to come upon us. And some will call themselves by the name of Jacob. And others will surname themselves by the name of Yisrael. They don't want us doing these things because they know that when our kingdom is established, their kingdom must come down. They want to stay in power. So they have to create things to keep you in darkness, to keep you in bondage, in blindness. And that's what they do. They put out these books to make you not be able to understand who you are. They even wrote the book about you. But because they made it about somebody else, you think it's about somebody else. But it's not. It's about you. That's your life. That's your history. You are the savior of the earth. You are the one who brings redemption to the blind, to the sick. You have the ability to bring back the dead from the grave. You have the ability. What I'm saying right now, we got millions of people walking around here dead, spiritually dead. You can bring them back to life through the Most High's blessings. You speak your words of life unto them, and they will rise. What does Ezekiel say? That the dry bones, only the Most High can bring them back, and he works through you. You have that ability. You are the savior to the planet. You don't understand it. You are a God, and I use that term in a way that you could understand, a power unto the whole universe. That's who you are. Think about this for a minute. Think about this is just a small thing for you to phantom and run through your mind. If a man has a son, what is the man's wishes for his son? The man goes to work, he works hard so that he will leave an inheritance for his son, which means that everything that is that man's, when that man sits down and retires and departs, his son now takes over. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. Did I say anything that's wrong? Okay. The Most High even established through the law that a man's inheritance should go to his firstborn. The firstborn get a double portion of that inheritance. Well, we're the Most High's firstborn, we get a double portion, but then we're the only Most High's only born, so we get all of it. Is that right?
Yep.
That's
So
right.
what is it that the Most High governs right now? The heavens and the earth, the sea and all in between, all that belongs to the Most High King. Therefore, the prophets of Israel were the only prophets that have ever been left on record who had power and authority over the heavens and power and authority over the earth. Even the seas obeyed our voice. Moses stood on the mountain, raised his hands, parted the waters, and it became dry land. That's the seas. Moses stood when the people defied him. He prayed to the Most High. Everything is done by the Most High's will. He prayed to the Most High, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the adversaries and closed back up on them again. Is that right? Is that in the book?
That's right.
Moses stood, Jeremiah, Joshua, they stood on the rock, on the ground, on the dry, and raised their hands to the heavens and caused the sun to stand still in its orbit for a period of time. The prophet Isaiah prophesied to Hezekiah, Ahaz, what was it, Ahaz or Hezekiah? Hezekiah, I believe, that the sundial will not move a certain turn, certain degrees. How could that be? Because the Most High gave us authority over the heavens, because he commands those, he controls those. The earth, he commands that, he controls it. And the seas, he commands that, he controls it. Why do you think we don't have control over life itself? We do. We so far removed in our minds from our right natural state. We have no understanding of who we are. They took that book and made that book about us. Did not the prophet Elijah stretch himself over the bodies of a dead man, a dead young man that died, and breathed 3 times? But he did all that after he made prayer to the Most High. Then he was able to perform those things. Same thing with you. That's just symbolically letting you know the Most High gives you the ability to do things you don't even know you can do. But you always give that glory and praise to the Most High. When I say that ye are gods on this earth, ye are powers on this earth, you are. But the adversary don't want you knowing who you are. He doesn't want you to know the ability, the essence, the maturity, the spiritual development that lies inside of you. So what they had to do was they had to knock you upside your head to make you dumb. They took your tongue, they took your vision, they closed your ears so that you couldn't hear. And all of those four things are still upon us today. But guess what? They're weakening their hold on us. And the Spirit of the Most High has come upon us, and now we're returning back to our Maker. We're turning back to our rightful positions in this earth. I can't wait till we can put down all this separation and arguing and bickering over small things like the sister Taya said today. They want to fight with her about fringes because her fringes is made different from their fringes. Instead of looking at the fact 50 years ago, Israelites wasn't wearing fringes. The real Israelites, the real Hebrews. Now today we are. No matter what they look like, we're wearing them. That is something worthy of acknowledgement. We're waking up. We're returning back to our Father. I can't wait till we return back to each other. I can't wait till we return back unto each other. Put down our pride, put down our egos, stop challenging each other, and let the Most High do what the Most High does, because he does it best. And I know you people think that I wanted to fight and prove that the Torah is the only book you should be listening to and reading. I don't have to prove anything. That's not my job. My job is to disseminate the information that the Creator gave me. And that's what I did. And whatever you get from that, if your integrity allows you to still participate in that matter in the way you have been doing it, so be it. But if your integrity says something is wrong, you need to stop and you need to change and you need to rethink yourself, then I would suggest you do that. I would suggest you do that. I'm not here to seek and destroy. I'm here to uplift and enlighten, to improve, to unite this nation together, and to serve my people to the best of my ability. Are there any other questions, fam?
Yes. What would be the scripture or story of when you said the sun stopped, or somebody caused the sun to stop?
In Joshua, I think it's the 5th or 6th chapter. I can find for you. Joshua, the 10th chapter. And he commanded the sun and the moon, both of them stood still. Joshua, the 10th chapter.
And I'm sorry, you said it was the prophet Joshua? I'm not sure if he was a prophet, but.
Prophet, Joshua was a prophet. Then spake Joshua unto the Creator in the day. See how they all go to the Most High before they do anything? They get the Most High's authority, permission to do what they do. That's so that you don't worship them. So that you don't give them glory, you give the glory back to the Almighty. It says, then spake Joshua, Yahushua, to the Creator in the day when the Creator delivered upon the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. What happened was they was out at war. And they saw that while they was out at war, if somebody lowered their hands, or what was that? No, I think I'm mixing two different stories. Yeah, I think I'm mixing two different stories. So it says, so the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before or after that the Creator hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Creator fought for Yisrael. So there's your example of the sun and the moon obeying the voice of a man. And Moses stood on the mountain and caused the waters to open up, part. I mean, this is what we do. We don't know what we do. This book is left on record to let us know who we are and how to return back to the Most High. Those who don't want to give up power tries to water down the book or try to cause you to not understand who you are, so that their rulership on this planet can be extended as opposed to being interrupted. Are there any other questions?
Todar.
Are there any other questions? All right.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
Okay. What about the one where I think you told me this before. Somebody raised somebody from the dead?
Yeah, that's First Kings, I think it's chapter 4.
I'm just trying to get an understanding of I'm writing down the powers that the Most High lets us behold on the earth. You get me? So
Yeah, I get you. So that's what it is. He raised him, his life came back to him again. I think that's the 4th chapter.
Did you say First Kings, babe?
Yeah, I think it's First Kings. Second Kings, maybe. Because First Kings is talking about Solomon, Second Kings. Yeah, might be Second Kings. It's Elijah the prophet, Elisha the prophet. Both of them did it. Second Kings, 4th chapter.
Okay. I think it's very interesting how you said that they wrote down those things that we can do, but then put it on someone else. And it just turns out like it's not a coincidence that we can also do those things, like we do those things, but yet we believe only one person has the ability to do those things that we now call, Jesus or whoever. So it's like, that's so twisted, like very interesting. Yep.
It's the truth, it's a fact. And that's how they deceived us. They deceived the whole world. Man, think about this for a minute. They took the whole nation of Israel and made the earth think that the Europeans was us.
True.
They took the whole nation, all of us who are really the greatest people, and made them think that it was a European people, a white person. So this is what they do. Are there any other questions?
Just crafty counsel. It's so, when you really sit back and look at it, like you took a whole nation of Black Hebrews, turned them white, And it's like even the book, the names, when you're going through the scripture, you got powerful names of Zechariah, Zephaniah, and then next thing you end up with Luke and Paul. And if you don't see something even wrong with that, you're not thinking clearly,
Right.
and they'll show you in these movies like Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, they'll show you when they stop getting out of that New Testament and start reading in the book of the Holy Scriptures, then they start getting courage, empowered. Like, you know what, we ain't going for this, but man, crafty counsel, boy.
Counsel. I think I need to say this because our people, we're still under this curse. And the Europeans' mindset is still upon us. And in this, what happens is a lot of people who are here today or in the future or viewing this video will say, Prince is trying to take me away from the New Testament. They'll say he's trying to get me out of that. He thinks he's slick. He's exposing things. He's saying, he's sharing things. He's right, but I'm not going to accept what he has to say. Then don't accept it. Don't believe anything that I say. Keep on living life as you live it and keep believing as you believe. All I ask is that you would ask of the Creator, if anything that I said was true today, allow him to reveal it to you. Allow him to allow you to be able to accept those things that are true and see the things that I've said that are not true and expose Prince to his lies and his fallacies. I would challenge you to make that prayer to the Creator. See, because there's no fear within me that the things that I speak, the things I teach, are the things that the Most High has given to me to share with his family, with his people. So I'm here to stand accountable for anything that I teach to the family. That's what it is. We got some brothers just came into the room. Shalom, shalom, my brothers. Makusadek and my brother Yaakov. Shabbat shalom. I don't know. Maybe they're not fully in yet. I don't know. Their mics are still muted.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Aki. How are you?
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Wonderfully magnificent and rapidly improving with relentless pursuit.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. So you guys are super late, but it's okay. It's okay. We were going to be closing out in a few minutes, but if y'all
I've been running my mouth.
Been running your mouth. If you guys got anything you like to say, any questions you might want to ask, now is the time to do so. We had a wonderful class today. I believe we have. We learned a whole lot of things today, but the proof is in the pudding, so we'll see. You guys don't have any comments?
Had you heard anything by any chance on the signing dealing with the Pope bringing the peace treaty? Have you heard anything on that?
No, I haven't.
Honey?
I haven't.
Okay. I've been thinking a lot about that. I say, this got to be the year. This just got to be the year that he does that. So I'm waiting on that.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Does anyone have any questions or comments before we close out?
I have another question, my brother.
You can have any question you got.
Okay. My son talks to me about this a lot, that the Star of David. And we talk about that a lot. And I'm just trying to get more understanding on that. I see you have wearing something similar to that 6-pointed star. Some say it's a 5-pointed star also. So from my point of view, I'm just trying to get a better understanding of that and about, because I see a lot of our other sisters and brothers, they have on different types of symbols and things of that nature. So can you give me some insight, on that?
Oh gosh, we ain't got enough time left.
Oh,
So this is what I'll say to you. I'll address your question the best I can, as quick as I can. But I have a whole video
okay.
up. I have a whole video on YouTube it's called The Star of David, Magen Dawid, on my YouTube.
Okay.
Do you have access to my YouTube page?
If I don't, I get it from Sister Abby.
Okay.
I was just say I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay.
It's a whole lesson on it. And even that is not a complete lesson. That's still partially done. But the Magen Dawid is a symbol that the Most High has placed in the creation of creation. It's an ancient symbol. It has nothing to do with the Jewish man. It has everything to do with the principles of life, the existence of life within itself. You see it in nature. One of the first places that I saw it was in the sky, in the heavens, with the sun. When it rise early in the morning, the Magen Dawid was around the sun. There's a lot of plants in the shape of the Magen Dawid.
That's right.
Yeah. The Magen Dawid is an ancient symbol of protection.
Okay.
An ancient symbol of, how can I say, energy, force. And I'm trying to say these things in a manner that I can say what I'm saying without exposing too much information and confusing you. If you ever notice from the old movies, when people used to use the scary movies, they call them scary movies or demonic movies, everything that we've been taught is out of sequence. It's not what you think it is. And usually the things that you think is what they told you, so you accept it because you grow up that way. Like, for example, you believe that cows is okay for human consumption. But in China, they believe that dogs is okay for human consumption. The only reason you don't believe that dogs is okay for human consumption is because you wasn't taught that dogs was okay as you grew up and developed. Had you lived in China, you would probably be eating dogs and rats just like they eat. But because you was brought up here in America, you learned what Americans wanted you to learn. And it was that dogs was prohibited, that rats was something nasty, and that cows could be eaten. But what's the difference between a cow and a dog? They both are animals of the field. They both have life. So why is one prohibited and one is not? Why is that? It's only because of the way that we were raised by the people who raised us. In ancient Egypt, it was forbidden for you to eat meat. You couldn't eat cows because cows was their deity. You couldn't eat cows. Therefore, they didn't eat with the Hebrews. They had their own food because the Hebrews was going to eat their gods. So basically, I'm saying it's based on how you were taught. A lot of people have been taught under the misconception that this symbol, the Magen Dawid, is something evil, something negative, something destructive, dealing with witchcraft and sorcery. What I will say is that, so that you understand me, if you can travel this far, and I pray that you're able to, I happen to have the confidence that you can. In its raw form, take away all the garbage, all the trash, the real Hebrew Israelite man, a high priest, will be mistaken as a witch or a warlock because of the things that we do in our raw form. We don't even come close to what our forefathers did. For example, when it came to, I like to use this example all the time. If you got some neighbors that just moved on a block across the street, and you happen to peep in their front window to look at them one night, and they're all sitting in a circle, and the man is standing up with a white robe on, and his son stands in front of him. He slices the animal's throat, a pigeon, and kills the pigeon on a bowl and put it in a bowl, and take a little bit of that blood and put it on his son right earlobe, his son right big thumb, and his son big toe. You seeing that through the window, what would you say to the neighbors? We got some witches in the neighborhood. But everything that's mentioned to you is in the Torah. That's what the Most High said that we should do when we are anointing our.
Right.
Follow what I'm saying? But because it's so far removed away from who we were as a people, the things that are naturally in our order of things are foreign to us. And the Europeans have taught us to hate ourselves because they don't want to give up the rights to rule over us. If we learn who we are and return back to who we are, that means they got to give up power. So the longer they can keep us asleep, the more they're going to enjoy what they do. So the Magen David was a symbol used in those movies and things like I was trying to get to. But if you ever noticed it, the Magen David was used for protection from evil spirits. The witch, the sorcerer, the warlock, whoever it was, they would paint the Magen David on the floor and then stand or sit in the center of it. They would draw a circle around it. Matter of fact, it was just like this. They had a circle around it with the Magen David in the middle, and they would sit in the center. And what they would do is they would do their incantations from their enchantments from that center, but the evil forces could not come and penetrate that invisible circle or Magen David that was on the floor. So even in those stories, they was trying to tell you things, but all you saw was that an evil person was using this device, so the device must be evil and wicked. Well, then I say to you is this: if the man who broke in your house 6 o'clock at night, you woke up and you saw him raping your child and stabbing your son, and you pulled out your gun and you shot him, was that gun wicked? Was that gun evil? That gun was, that's right. That gun was used to preserve your life. So it's not the symbol, it's not the thing, it's the individual who does evil, not the thing or the symbol or the instrument. It's the mind state of the individual. So you can take that gun and go out and commit murder, or you can take that gun and preserve life. You can take the Magen David and just let it be a symbol for you to recognize who your brothers and sisters are. Or you can take the Magen David and put curses on people if that's who you are in your mind state. But I want to say one thing to you. Any curse that you put out, you get back. That's why the Most High tells you specifically in the law, do not curse people. The Most High tells you, curse no one, because it's understood. Anything you put out in the universe is eventually going to make its way back to you. Okay? So those people who were going, they received back what they gave. They were only protected for a period of time. So that's another conversation for another day. But in my video, sis, on the YouTube, Prince Israel, and Prince Israel with an I, Prince Israel with a Y, and Temple Kifarim. You look up those YouTube videos, look for Magen David, Star of David, and you will see, and you will hear a lot more intense the lessons that's being brought forward. All right?
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
No problem, sis. Are there any other questions?
No, I don't have nothing else right now.
All right, so if there's no questions, we just need somebody to close us out with a prayer.
Can I do it today, Moray?
Say that one more time.
I said, can I do the prayer today?
Absolutely. See, I like that. I like that. Boy, I had to ask too many times. Boy, yeah, you got it, sis. Take us home.
Okay. Oh, Heavenly Father, please lend ear to our supplication. Please lend your ear to our cry. I humbly ask for your permission to come before your throne, just to say thank you, Yah. Todah for every blessing that you have given us. Todah for the man of Elohim you have placed before us. And I pray we never give credit to ourselves when you deserve all the credit. All blessings are from you. And I pray that your blessings for us never go unnoticed, unpraised, unthanked. All blessings flow from you, O Creator. And I thank you for every single one of them. You brought us through another week, and I say Todah Rabbah. It could have been worse. You didn't have to keep us, but your mercy and your kindness. And I'm so grateful, so grateful. Keep us all influenced by your Ruach. And guide all of our steps, O Father, that we continue to glorify you, for we are your faithful servants, and we rest in your every word. My heart is full of thanks and gratitude towards you. I'm full of happy amazement at your creation and all the good things that you do for us. Who are we that you would freely pour out your love and kindness upon us? All praise and glory goes to you and to you alone. Only you could have brought us all this far, and I'm so grateful. All praise, all honor, all glory to your holy, everlasting, supreme power. I pray. Todah Rabbah. Todah Rabbah. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Wonderful prayer, sis. Wonderful prayer. May the Most High be praised.
Wonderful.
Family, thank you all for attending today. I pray that whomever this lesson is for, that the Most High allows them to receive it, to increase their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Him, and help them in their development of drawing closer to Him. May the Most High be praised from everlasting to everlasting. Todah Rabbah. Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat shalom.
Todah, my brother.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.